Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This weekend, a lot of people are down on this UFC card in its return to Canada. Canada has seemingly gotten some of the lowest drawing pay-per-view events of recent memory, unfortunately for them. But I think UFC 315 this weekend is going to absolutely deliver. We have two title fights headlining the card. JDM, of course, in his first title shot, looking to dethrone the very hot, full of momentum Belal, remember the name, Muhammad. Now, in the co-main event, I think this one's going under the radar a little bit. Manon Fiorot is the next generation of female fighters, and she is finally getting her crack at Valentina Shevchenko, who is the most decorated champion in this division's history by far. It's a real interesting matchup, a passing of the guard, potentially, Manon Fiorot, someone who is knocking on that door. And Valentina Shevchenko has shown such an incredible ability to stay above the competition, man. Adjust, keep adding skills even later in her career. But this is a really tough fight. And regardless, down the card, Aldo back, some local boys, Benoit Saint Denis. It's not the most talent-stacked card in terms of name value. But like I said, I think UFC 315 in front of this ripe Canadian audience is going to really deliver. I think the atmosphere is going to be off the charts. And, I think a lot of these matchups are really going under the radar. Like I said, we don't have the most recognizable names as you go down this card, but the matchups that we have, how these styles are going to create really entertaining fights, I think we're in for a treat, man. And I think this card is getting overlooked a little bit in that regard. Let's jump straight into that main event. Belal Muhammad, remember the name, looking to defend his UFC welterweight title for the first time against a surging Australian savage in JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. Now, this matchup as well, I think, is getting really lazily broken down by most people. I think the clear, easy thing to say is that Belal Muhammad is going to win a decision. But when you delve deeper into the styles and how these styles match up against each other, I think JDM has a very great opportunity to not only open eyes, but to create an upset and become the new welterweight champion of the world. The ability he showed in the Gilbert Burns fight to stay safe against the submission threats while keeping the fight moving and not getting stuck on bottom, but continuing to transition, I have all of the faith in the world he's going to be able to keep the fight moving against Belal Muhammad, someone who doesn't carry the same level of danger. If we were able to see JDM continue to work through that danger that Gilbert Burns possesses and find his way back to the feet, he's going to be able to do that in this fight against Belal Muhammad even easier and with less calculated risk. So if he's able to get the fight back to the feet multiple times and they're going to continue to strike, I know Belal Muhammad is becoming comfortable with the hands and the boxing, but there is no way he's going to be able to strike with JDM on the feet. What JDM brings in the boxing ranges, his ability to go first and third, but not only that, he's very comfortable in that boxing range, in the pocket, throwing heat. Belal Muhammad, although he's more comfortable with the hands are ultimately to set up the level change. The level change is to set up the hands. He does not have the natural finishing instincts or abilities in the boxing ranges that JDM does. And regardless of just the boxing ranges, man, JDM is dangerous anywhere this fight goes. He's going to be chasing submissions, even if it's not to secure them and to get a tap necessarily. But like I said, to keep that fight moving, man, I think JDM still has a lot more to show in not only his abilities striking, but on the defensive grappling side of things, man. This is the place to show it, and this is a good enough test that it'll really have to be brought out if it's there. And JDM is someone who is always training, always learning, and you can just tell is in love with the game, man. And I know Belal Muhammad is the same. Don't get me wrong. JDM has a lot of youth on his side. I just think it's a 50-50 fight, man. I think the way it's being looked at, broken down, it's just a little bit lazy, because when you look the potentiality of how these two styles are going to clash, JDM is in this fight 100%. I'm really smelling an upset coming here, man. Like, if JDM doesn't secure the finish, I can see him banking 3 out of the 5. Like, with what he's going to be able to do on the damage side of things, his ability to keep this fight moving, to hurt Belal Muhammad when it returns to that boxing range, and just to freeze him. Like, I think the body language is going to be a really, really big tell in this fight. And I think people are going to leave having a massive opinion shift and a new perspective, because JDM is that guy 100%. In the co-main event, and I smell and knew as well, man, like Manon Fiorot, regardless of the skills, she is very, very talented, don't get me wrong. But her size, how physical she is for 125 pounds, it's nuts. Like, a huge flyweight. And her ability to bring that physicality along with the skills is a very, very dangerous matchup, because her kickboxing is elite. She has a great ability to control the fight on the feet. Regardless if she's really, really damaging you, her ability to dictate that range and stay safe and almost wet blanket anything you're trying to do by volume, accuracy, and, like I said, range management, along with that physicality to go and, eat off some minutes on the clinch when she needs to. I think Valentina Shevchenko is going to have a really, really tough night. A, trying to take down Manon Fiorot, and B, trying to strike with her. Like, I know Valentina's Muay Thai background. She is a very, very good striker, but the game moves very quickly. And like I said, Manon Fiorot is truly that next generation of MMA fighter where everything is really well put together and there are no holes, man. So very, very big test. Don't get me wrong. It's her toughest fight in the UFC for sure. But I think Manon Fiorot is at the perfect point in her career where she's ready for an opportunity like this. She's gotten all the reps, all the experience she needs, and now it's up to her to pull the trigger in that high pressure moment. So ability-wise, I think it's all there. I think she has all of the tools she needs to get this fight won, and potentially in, pretty convincing fashion. It's going to be about the moment and whether she can bring that onto game day, because there's no questions regarding Valentina Shevchenko and her abilities on fight night. So Manon Fiorot, first title shot. She's had a lot of experience in the UFC, but this is a massive step up, and you cannot understate that going into a fight like this. Jose Aldo, Aiemann Zahabi. It's great to see Jose Aldo back. I have a really bad feeling that we're going to leave with a sour taste in our mouth, similar to how we did with that Bautista fight. Aiemann Zahabi, very overlooked, does not get nearly enough recognition that he deserves, but he's a very, very skilled fighter. Not the flashiest, not the most vicious finishing instincts or anything, but trained by a very, very top-notch team. Like his brother, Firas Zahabi, one of the most decorated MMA coaches of all time. And Aiemann Zahabi has a great ability to win, man. Like, seems like a simple thing to say, but to be able to know where you are doing well and where you are not, where you need to adjust inside those 15 minutes in the UFC octagon is such a incredible talent to have. And the way Aiemann Zahabi manages risk and understands his abilities and how he can implore those and bring them into the fight, I think might be a dangerous matchup for Jose Aldo when he's so late into his career, man. Like, I do not see Aiemann Zahabi cracking the chin of Jose Aldo. Do not get me wrong. And I think he's going to be, pretty out of his depth in the striking ranges. But the faith I have in Aiemann Zahabi to implore an MMA game, mix it up, and even if it looks boring on the outside, to go through 15 minutes and to get a W that will forever stay on your record, a win over Jose Aldo. Like, he's a very smart, calculated fighter, and I think that might be the difference in a matchup like this. Guys, what do you reckon about this card? There's some interesting fights on the prelims, and the first two on the main card are interesting as well. But those top three are the ones I'm really, really curious about because, yeah, I think there's a lot of moving pieces, and I think the way people are talking about these matchups is a little bit off, especially the main event. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for joining me. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate that. We will chat soon.